Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House? Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who, I might add, tried to destroy the evidence.
I guess the question is, I guess the answer is no.
Since
I guess the answer is no.
The answer is since 2 days ago, I'm not
asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing prevented
That's when they first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House.
California is known
for months, Mr. Chairman. For months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
The gentleman from North Carolina said
an accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they didn't.
These documents, because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
We're still waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman.
Man, the nerve of this guy, right? Did you see that? That's Adam Schiff, slick as ever, trying to run his little gotcha lawyer games on Jim Jordan. This is exactly why people get so frustrated with Washington, D.C. It's all theater for these Democrats. We're going to watch the whole thing, including a clip of Jim Jordan absolutely torching Schiff on the House floor for his past. You do not want to miss this breakdown.
Gentleman from California withdraws a point of order who seeks recognition. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, much as I don't like certain parts of the Mazars decision, it clearly applies in this case, and the committee is required to engage with the White House in order to seek an accommodation over materials held by a private party, as they were in the Mazars case, and seek to resolve this with the White House. So I would ask unanimous consent that we enter into the record your correspondence to the White House.
Objection.
Seeking to engage them to resolve this, and I thank the chairman for not objecting. Can you produce that correspondence to the White House asking for accommodation on these materials you've sought by this subpoena?
First time they reached out to us was 2 days ago.
Yes, and of course the author expressed the concern that these materials may implicate interests of the executive. I think that was weeks ago. But having admitted without dissent your correspondence to the White House, can you produce that for us where you have sought an accommodation, where you've sought to work this out with the White House? Can you share that with us since that is now part of the record?
Well, I thought you had it. You wanted to enter into the record.
I do. I presume that, knowing your responsibilities, you have sought to engage the White House. So,
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Produce the
recognized for point of order.
I think a unanimous consent request to submit something to the record is where the person who's asking for the floor is the proponent of submitting information that member has. I don't believe it's appropriate to ask a unanimous consent request to engage in a colloquy over discovering information or obtaining information from another member of the committee.
Great, and that's why I said that no objection to the unanimous consent request. If the gentleman from California wants to talk about that and present it to us, God bless him. He's allowed to do it since 5 minutes.
I would like clarification from the chairman. Does this mean that there is no correspondence from you to the White House seeking accommodation on this material?
We've had all kinds of correspondence with the White House on this broad subject relative to the Zwanitzer and the letter we got 2 days ago. We've not corresponded with the White House yet.
And
we will, we may. That's a decision we'll make.
And you have not corresponded with the White House seeking accommodation ever since the author who you are subpoenaing and seeking to hold in contempt articulated the view that there was executive interest and potential privilege over this material. You haven't sought to engage over the weeks since you received that communication?
We have not engaged with the White House since the letter on the 25th of this month, 2 days ago.
And prior to that time, did you engage the White House in an effort to obtain these materials?
All kinds of engagements with our counsel and counsel.
I'm talking about
the Justice Department and White House with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena, Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to be litigated? Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House. Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who, I might add, tried to destroy the
So I
evidence
guess
that
the
we are
question is,
seeking.
I guess the answer is
Since-
no.
Since
I
2
guess
days
the answer is no.
The answer is, since 2 days ago, I have not.
I'm not asking the
sought-
question about since 2 days ago, although nothing
That's when
prevented
they
you-
first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these
Gentleman
materials
from
from the White
California
House
is known for
months, Mr. Chairman, for months.
I'm not a mind reader. I
And,
don't know
and
what
I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this, that you
gentleman from
never
North Carolina
sought an
said
accommodation
months ago the
at
White House
all
could have raised
to
the concern,
to
and they
obtain these
didn't.
documents. Because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr.
We're still
Chairman.
waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, I appreciate you're making such a clean record for any court in this case that you have never sought an accommodation, never written to the White House, never called the White House, never had a communication with the White House in order to obtain these materials as part of an accommodation. Thank you for.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding. Americans want safer streets, affordable gas, and freedom. Instead, Democrats give us record crime levels, record inflation, and another bill attacking President Trump, sponsored by the guy who spent years misleading the Congress and, more importantly, the country on Trump-Russia investigation, on Mueller investigation, on impeachments. Remember when the sponsor of the bill said that his office didn't meet with the whistleblower? Found out that wasn't true. Remember when the sponsor of the bill told us that we would hear from the whistleblower during impeachment? We'd actually have real process instead of having hearings and depositions in the basement, in the bunker of the Capitol. Remember when the sponsor told us this? That there was more than circumstantial evidence that President Trump colluded with Russia? That turned out to be false. Bob Mueller said it was false. Everyone knew it was false. In fact, it was such baloney, even the Washington Post has had to retract and change things from stories because they said, oh, yeah, there was a lot of false information in that dossier that they used to go spy on President Trump's campaign. And I think this is important to understand. Sponsored this legislation wasn't just any member of Congress, Mr. Speaker. He wasn't just any chairman of a committee in Congress. He was the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, the committee that gets additional information from anyone else in the country making those claims that were not accurate. So maybe instead of having another bill, attacking President Trump, we should actually focus on things that the American people care about. You know, you can attack President Trump all you want. I know one thing. A year ago, the border was secure. Sure was. A year ago, cities were safe, safer than they are today. A year ago, we didn't have a 31-year high inflation. We actually had wages going up, real wages. A year ago, we didn't have a Department of Justice attacking moms and dads, putting a label, a designation, a threat tag on parents who simply go to school board meetings and speak out against a racist, hate America curriculum. No, we didn't have that a year ago. But you guys can keep attacking the president all you want, not addressing the issues that the American people care about. We're going to speak about the issues they care about. We're going to try to do everything we can to slow down your crazy agenda that is driving up the price of everything.
So you just saw both clips. It's incredible. What you're seeing here is the perfect summary of American politics right now. On one side, you've got Jim Jordan, who is on the House floor just laying out the facts of what real Americans are actually dealing with every single day. And on the other side, you've got Adam Schiff, the king of fake investigations, trying to tie everything up in procedural knots to stop a real investigation. Let's break this down. First, you saw that speech from Jim Jordan on the House floor. He is 100% correct. What do we care about? We care about the price of gas. We care about crime in our cities. We care about a border that's wide open. And what are the Democrats focused on? Jordan nails it. Another bill attacking President Trump. They are still obsessed with this man years later. He's living rent-free in their heads. But the best part is when Jordan calls out the sponsor of the bill, Adam Schiff. He reminds everyone that this is the same guy, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee no less, who went on TV every single day for years and told all of us that he had more than circumstantial evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Remember that he lied. He flat out lied to the American people, to his own colleagues, and to you. He knew it was such baloney, as Jordan says, and he did it anyway. This is the guy who pushed the phony Steele dossier. This is the guy who lied about his staff meeting with the whistleblower. This is the guy who did evidence and text messages for his first impeachment hearing. He has lied time and time and time again, and he does it with this smug, arrogant look on his face because he thinks the American taxpayers are fools. He thinks we're all stupid and will just forget. Jim Jordan hasn't forgotten, and he's one of the only ones with the guts to stand up on that floor and remind the whole country who Adam Schiff really is. This guy has zero credibility, none. Okay, so now we get to that committee hearing, and this part just makes my blood boil. Schiff puts on his little slick lawyer hat and starts this condescending line of questioning. Mr. Chairman, did you seek accommodation from the White House? He keeps repeating it. Did you ever engage the White House? I'm making a clean record for the court. This is classic DC snake move. This is what they do. He's not interested in the truth. He's not interested in the substance of the contempt charge. He's trying to find a procedural loophole so his buddies in the administration can get off on a technicality. Jordan's point is simple. We are seeking documents from a private individual. This isn't the White House, but Schiff wants it to be about the White House. He's trying to run cover for them. And you see Jim Jordan getting frustrated because he's trying to run a real investigation. And Schiff is just playing these arrogant, swampy games, and then the hypocrisy, the absolute nerve of this guy to talk about contempt or process at all. The man who ran 2 fake impeachments, the man who lied about having evidence he never had, the man who thinks he's above the rules, is now going to lecture Jim Jordan about process. Are you kidding me? And that final line from Schiff, that little zinger, ironically, for a chairman in contempt of his own subpoena, that's his whole game right there. It's not about the facts, it's not about the American taxpayer, it's about owning the other side with a slick one-liner for MSNBC. He just thinks he's so smart, he thinks we're all too dumb to see what he's doing. This is the whole battle, folks. You've got fighters like Jim Jordan who are trying to get answers about real issues, and then you have Adam Schiff, who only knows how to do one thing: lie, obstruct and attack his political enemies. He's the last person in that room who should be lecturing anyone about the truth. Good on Jim Jordan for not backing down and for calling him out. We need more of that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think really won this exchange? And am I wrong about Schiff? I don't think so. Thanks for watching. See you next time.